Phil Taylor, who has died age 61, was not Motörhead's first drummer, and he had not been part of the band's lineup since 1992. Nonetheless, his playing was crucial in establishing Motörhead as one of rock's great institutions, and the lineup of Taylor, the singer and bass player, Lemmy, and the lead guitarist, Fast, Eddie Clark, is regarded as the definitive version of the band. Whether they should be described as heavy metal, thrash, or merely heavy rock remains a perennially debated question. The band disliked being described as heavy metal, as Taylor himself explained in 1981. He said, "It's the way you look and the sort of audiences you attract that gets you labeled as heavy metal. But at every interview we always try to point out that we don't like to be called him music. It's more like hard, fast, nasty, and disgusting rock." That description makes it sound as though Motörhead's music was merely a barrage of noise. In 1984, they cracked the ceiling at the Variety Theater in Cleveland, Ohio, by playing at 130 decibels, but there was considerable method in their sonic madness. Taylor, colloquially known as Philthy Animal, was renowned in the metal fraternity for his pioneering use of a double kick drum, which enabled him to lend frenzied impetus to songs such as Overkill or Ace of Spades, and inspired a new generation of thrash metal bands such as Metallica and Anthrax. Rock and roll lifestyle. Taylor, an enthusiastic subscriber to the rock and roll lifestyle, was also accident-prone. In 1980, he played drums in a neck brace after a friend had dropped him on his head. This left him with a calcium deposit on the back of his neck he nicknamed the knob, and on another occasion, after breaking his hand in a fight, played with a drumstick taped to his hand. Yet Taylor also brought discipline and attention to detail to his playing with Motörhead, giving listeners a structure to cling to amidst the band's eardrum battering roar. Their celebrated live album No Sleep Till Hammersmith in 1981, the band's only #1, showcases the way he was able to shape the songs with crisp accents and punctuations, like his speedy fills during Ace of Spades or his almost elegant accents in No Class or Jailbait. Taylor spent 2 separate stints with Motörhead, from 1975 until 1984, and then 1987 until 1992. The best albums from the first period, Ace of Spades, No Sleep Till Hammersmith, and Iron Fist, were pinnacles of Motörhead's career. Taylor was born in Hasland, a suburb of Chesterfield, Derbyshire. He first played with Motörhead in 1975, when he was called in to replace the original drummer Lucas Fox while the group were making what would become the album On Parole, belatedly released in 1979. Executives at United Artists Records held it back because they were not convinced of its quality. Quit and joined Motörhead. Taylor replaced Fox's drum tracks on all the songs except Lost Johnny, since an arrest for drunk and disorderly behavior meant he could not return to the studio before the band's recording time had expired. At Taylor's suggestion, Clark was brought in on guitar to replace Larry Wallace, and the new-look Motörhead now released Motörhead in 1977, Overkill in 1979, and Bomber also in 1979, the last 2 reaching number 24 and number 12 on the charts, respectively. Then came Ace of Spades, which reached number 6 and confirmed Motörhead as a potent new force in heavy rock. Taylor left Motörhead in 1984 following the Another Perfect Day album and tour, and after a farewell appearance with the band on the TV comedy show The Young Ones, he put in stints playing drums with Wasted and Operator, and in 1986 played in Frankie Miller's touring band. In 1987, Taylor rejoined Motörhead and played on the albums Rock and Roll in 1987, 1916, and March or Die in 1992. However, his commitment to the group appeared to be wavering during March or Die, and his playing became so erratic that Lemmy felt forced to sack him. Lemmy said, "That was a blow because I knew it was going to devastate him, and it did, and that really upset me." Taylor played his last gig with Motörhead at Irvine Meadows, California in March 1992. Taylor subsequently worked with a variety of bands including The Web of Spider and Capricorn. He collaborated with the guitarist Chris Holmes and appeared on 3 albums by the Deviants. In November 2014, he joined Motörhead on stage at the National Indoor Arena in Birmingham as they performed Ace of Spades, but he did not play the drums. The idea, like so many great musical inventions, came about by accident. Taylor had just got himself a new kit and was messing around on it. He had 2 bass drums and started playing them together. His bandmates Lemmy and Fast Eddie Clarke overheard him and realized here was something that could turn Motörhead from a fast, aggressive band into a group utterly unlike any that had come before. Taylor himself seemed slightly baffled by what he had created. Taylor said, "I only associate thrash with what your dad did to you when he took his belt off." When Metallica supported Motörhead in 1982, Taylor recalled he could barely recognize what kind of music they were playing because it was so fast. Of course, the double-time drumming wasn't all there was to Taylor. He was an inventive and clever drummer, not just there to pummel things along while the two men in front of him did the fun stuff. He was also, by all accounts including his own, what might euphemistically be called a colorful character, from which one can infer that he knew no restraint. The story of how he joined Motörhead perhaps sums him up. He had met Lemmy and told him he was a drummer. Lemmy was more interested in getting a lift back to Rockfield Studios, where Motörhead had been rehearsing. Taylor had a car and obliged. The pair stayed up all night, and in the morning stark naked Taylor went outside. "It's all right," he bellowed to any curtain twitchers who might have been looking. "I'm on drugs back inside." Lemmy suggested that he'd been having problems with the group's then drummer Lucas Fox, and suggested Taylor have a quick rattle round the kit to test his suitability.